Hey guys, Kelade here. Welcome to my Mythic Kil'jaeden kill/commentary video. Right above my head, you guys can check out the talents that I've used for this fight. Pretty much a single target talent setup with the exception of War Machine. Right there, right at the beginning, we're going to use Backfire by itself. We're not going to use Odin's Fury, Moonglaze, or Avatar. We're going to save it for the erupting ads that come out. Now, this is using the pre-nerf version of Convergence, where it reduces the cooldown of your Backfire by 5 seconds, instead of the nerf version that's going to be out soon, which brings it down to 4 seconds. Now, if you're not feeling risky, or if you're using the post-nerf version of Convergence, then you might want to save your Battle Cry for it until right now when the ads spawn. Right, when the ads spawn, you're going to want to put your Moonglaze right here between Kil'jaeden and one of the ads. Go to the middle right here and then hit your Odin's Fury. That way you can cleave, all three ads and Kil'jaeden with Odin's Fury. And then your Moonglaze, unfortunately, can actually only hit one ad and the boss, so that's why I place it there. And of course, once you kill the ads, there are these orbs that spawn, and you want to dodge out of them. And in regards to gear for this fight, I am just using the single target gear that I have, which is just the legendary helmet and the legendary pants using Convergence and Moonglaze. Now, the Moonglaze, of course, isn't getting as much value because you can't AoE all three ads like that on Mythic, but it's still pretty good, especially you'll see in the Phase 3 transition. And right there, you guys saw the singularity that went out. It just knocks you back. Just be note that it does knock you back much faster than on lower difficulties like heroic, for example. So you have to be really ready to charge back to the boss as you're getting knocked back. And you can see another singularity is falling down in the middle of my screen, and I'm just turning myself so that way I'm kind of facing it, because you want to make sure that you're charging towards the boss. Right as it knocks me back, I'm pretty much spamming charge as fast as I can just to get back to the boss and live. So once you push the boss to 80%, he is going to phase, and then you kill the ad shortly afterwards. The tank saves the spell, you guys all get pulled onto him, and it's my job for this fight to kind of soak any stray Armageddons in X, or anything else that people can get. But right there, our Blood DK wanted to take it, so I'll just let him take that instead. During the transition phase, it's relatively easy once you know kind of the order that it happens. So when these first singularity happens, there's always going to be a set of two in the beginning. After that first Armageddon, and then you're going to take a Focus Dread Flame, and then it's going to be 4 sets of orbs, and then I think Armageddon happens again, and then you take 2 more singularities, and then a boss comes down, right? So this is the first of 4. We do have somebody in a raid calling out, which side of the orb to stand on, so we can get knocked back into the right location of the map for the next orb. The biggest thing for this part is to realize that the orb knocks you back from the middle of the orb, not like the edge of the platform, because some people get knocked off, like, even though they're standing in kind of the right place, they get knocked off just a little bit too far off the edge, and there's a lot, pretty much half the wipes are going to be coming from either people getting knocked off or just not all of these Armageddons getting soaked. And of course, there's also a Focus Dread Flame here. I had it on me, so I'm going to pop my In Reach Regeneration just so I can take less damage from that. Now, of course, depending on what classes your guild has for their raid, if you guys have a lot of rogues, a lot of people that can really reduce the damage of Armageddon, then they're going to be prioritized in soaking it just because they take less damage. But it's always better to soak an Armageddon than to not, because if you don't soak one, pretty much guarantee a wipe. So when the boss first comes down, even though I have all my cooldowns up again, once again, I'm not going to be dropping my Moonglaze and Avatar right away. The biggest reason for this is because when phase 2 first starts, I don't know if you guys can saw the timer when it was up there, but reflection erupting does not happen for around 2 minutes and 50 seconds. That's like when the ads actually spawn, right? The cooldown of Moonglaze is 1 minute and 30 seconds. That means you can't actually use Moonglaze twice before those AoE ads spawn. So you can only use Moonglaze once anyway. So I might as well save my Moonglaze for when an ad spawns. And you're going to see it here. When this next ad spawns, I'm going to be dropping Moonglaze and all of my other cooldowns for that ad. And that's just kind of taking advantage of the cooldowns, because you're really going to want to use Moonglaze for the erupting ads. One is because it's more DPS, and 2 is because it really just helps out your raid in order to make sure that you're killing the erupting ads as fast as possible. Of course, that Armageddon, if it's super far out, I do try to leap towards some of them, especially because it's so easy for you to pinpoint, exactly where you're going to go with Heroic Leap. From the middle of the map, you can pretty much reach any single Armageddon that spawns. And that's why whenever Armageddons come out, you guys will always see I'm just constantly panning around the room, seeing if there's any stray Armageddons that I need to leap to. Of course, the ad dies right there. Since I am using War Machine, you want to make sure that you're always tagging ads as they die, just to make sure that you are getting that War Machine proc. And then during phase 2, what's funny is that we actually are going to end up having too much damage. You guys will see this in a second, in that There's some guilds, there's certain parts of the fight where if you have enough DPS, you can actually push the boss into phase 3 faster. But just to be safe, we're not going to do that. And he does phase into phase 3 at 40%. So we're going to, once we get closer to like 40% at 43 and 44, I think, percent, we're actually going to stop DPS on the boss, let him go through a few phases of mechanics, and then we'll phase the boss purposefully. Of course, every time the Dread Flame happens, depending on your raid setup, you might need to soak these or not, but most likely, if you're a few warrior, you're not going to have to. Generally, for us, we have the rogues and one of the tanks soak it. That way, there's at least 4 people in there always, and of course, rogues are going to faint, so they take less damage. And every time, so there's whenever these singularities happen during phase 2 of the fight, there's generally always going to be an ad that spawns, and you want to make sure that you kill that ad before that singularity hits, right? Because whenever those tank ads is dead, they'll put a debuff on the tank, and whenever that debuff gets dispelled, everybody gets pulled to the tank, right? So you want to make sure that that ad is dead, so you have to dispel. So the instant that you guys all get knocked back, the debuff gets dispelled, and you all get pulled towards the tank. So here's the erupting ads again, right? I'm going to drop my Moonglaze on this ad instead this time, get to the middle, get ready, get all my buffs, and hit Owen's Fury on all 4 targets, and then move over to this green ad that I'm in charge of killing. The biggest reason why I put my Moonglaze in the other ad, because I thought the other warrior had to purposely die, but he didn't, because we do change up which member purposely die on this fight. So the way that we do this, since every ad that you kill, the person that spawned an ad spawns those flame orbs, just to make the fight easier for us, we make it so every time we have those erupting ads, one of the 3 people with it goes in front of the boss and sacrifices themselves, so that way they stay dead. Because if you're dead when your ad is killed, you actually will not spawn the flame orbs underneath your feet. So for the first part of the fight, when they first spawn in phase 1, the guy that has purple marker sacrifices himself, and then for right here in phase 2, the guy that had the moon marker sacrifice themselves. So right here, the boss is 42% HP. We don't want to push the boss yet, so we're just gonna kind of chilling a little bit. What we're waiting for is for these healer ads to get healed up, so that way the healers don't have to heal these things while we're transitioning into phase 3. So just letting the healers heal them up. We're also gonna wait for this Armageddon to go through, and then he's gonna do a focused Dread Flame. After that Dread Flame happens, then we're gonna face the boss. I'm coming to X, which is my designated area. I don't see any Armageddons. There's no other straight Armageddons. So I just start, walking slowly towards the boss. And then as his Dread Flame comes out, we're going to phase him into phase 3. So for phase 3, it's relatively easy because we do have a Blood DK. Now this pool isn't like the most perfect pool, but with a Blood DK, he can actually grip these ads before you even go into the next phase. I don't know why Blizzard made this change, but they did make that change where you can actually grip these ads before you get the Illidan mark. Now, unfortunately, there is one ad out there to the side, that diamond ad. He does get gripped in relatively quickly, so that's fine. This is where like the big AoE DPS happens, right? You're gonna drop your Moonglaze, pop all of your cooldowns, AoE these guys as fast as possible, so that way you only have to deal with one knockback. Makes it very easy because you always know that first knockback will always come from that corner of the room during the transition phase. Now, of course, for that mechanic they saw right there, I did pop Commanding Shout. I also popped Enraged Regen just so I can help out the healers heal faster. And of course, whenever there is a Spirit Link totem, Enraged Regen is really good because you can constantly heal yourself for a large amount of HP, and that HP will just be distributed to the rest of your raid. So definitely recommend Enraged Regen there because you don't really need it for any other mechanics that comes out in phase 3. Because phase 3 is pretty much, if you're gonna die, you're gonna die, right? Like there's not very like in my opinion, like ticking damage that you slowly die to, where you need it in Raise Regen for. So right here, here are these flame orbs that happens. All your job is, especially as a field warrior, is to make sure that you just aren't the closest person to the orbs. Generally, your group is going to have a set amount of range people, in order for them to soak these orbs, and your job is to just not touch the orbs, get away from them, let the range deal with them, and then DPS the boss as fast as you can. You can see at the top of my screen, obelisk explosion in 5 seconds. When that happens, all the obelisks go off, and we do have somebody watching the obelisk and marking a spot in the raid that's safe right here, the blue marker, for us to stand. That way we can all easily dodge the obelisks. I highly recommend you guys do this if you guys aren't, because it just makes it so the rest of your raid doesn't have to worry about where you're safe, right? One person can just call it out. Now, of course, the person calling out has to absolutely know what they're doing, because if they call out the wrong place, your raid wipes, right? And whenever you do get that, yellow circle debuff, you want to make sure you take it out of the group so you don't hit anybody else with it. Then, of course, every time he does that blast, you get into that little green place and he won't hit you. So right here, I've actually have been holding onto my cooldown for like 25 seconds because we had Sadia debuff, so I wanted to wait for it to use my cooldowns. So the obvious, of course, the instant I drop my Moonglaze, the tanks move the boss, unfortunately. So I don't think my Moonglaze tick on the boss even once. I think it might have gotten a one tick, but it's really unfortunate for Moonglaze to not hit the boss even once. But it's okay. Our goal here is to build as many Juggernaut stacks as you can. And for this fight, yes, you can absolutely keep your Juggernaut stacks in this fight, and that's also why I'm uploading our second fight, because for the first fight, I had no idea what I was doing in phase 3, and I just dropped Juggernaut stacks. But as long as you keep track of the timer for the obelisk explosion, and you know when it's coming out, you can absolutely very easily keep your Juggernaut stacks up and make sure that you just keep building up all the way until the end of the fight. Especially with kind of this fight and I think Mythic Kil'jaeden, there's a lot of chances for people to be dying in phase 3. So you want to make sure that you're building up your stacks, getting as high as you can, because of course, the more people that end up dying this phase, the more DPS you're going to end up doing just by way of building up more stacks. Once again, these focused red flames, just make sure that you're not taking it unless, you're designated to take that in your group. You also want to make sure that you're not too close to the guy soaking it, because it does do AoE damage when it hits them, right? So right here, he's going to do another phase. I didn't realize that I could have probably just Battlecry and executed him to kill him. I thought I was going to get some more seconds in Battlecry. Unfortunately, ended the fight with my Battlecry up. Not the best way to end the fight, but still, it was a relatively good fight. I think Kil'jaeden is a pretty good fight that showcases a lot of the warrior kit. Every time you get knocked back, charge back in, no problem. Pure Leap will save your life in many, many places. And just being able to Odin Sphere all of the ads, that's actually very important. There's not too many melee DPS that can actually AoE all 3 erupting ads at the same time that we can do with Odin's Fury. But that's it for this video, and with that, that is the last boss in Tomb of Sargeras. Let me know what you guys have thought about these POV and commentary videos. As always, feel free to subscribe to see more content. See ya!
Kelade.
Oh, what the fuck? What?
What?
Dude, this motherfucker Kil'jaeden, are you serious?
Blizzard, please.